Hi, I'm Rachel Dohas. I am a creative and I love fashion history, and I thought I would do some show and tell with you today and share with you some dreams and aspirations that I have right now. So, I am wanting to create more of an old-fashioned vintage style in my wardrobe, but really mostly from a practical standpoint. So back in the day, and I'm thinking 1800s. I really feel like that's where I'm sticking. Though I was kind of debating, is this 1950s? But really it's 1800s that I'm interested in and have been for a long time. One of the main things that was the concern back in the day was modesty and sun protection. They didn't have sunblock, and so they had, let me show you what I have. So, ladies' gloves. Ooh, let's make that. There we go. Ladies' gloves protected their hands from sun exposure, and they wore these every day that they went out. I got this apron, not for sun exposure, but for working around the house, especially cleaning, cooking, and doing the dishes. And I got this, I have off-white color because I wanted it to be kind of old-fashioned. I was so happy to get this shawl. Hold on, trying to make it. There we go. Okay, it's a nice black shawl. It is Irish wool, and I got it in this small town that I live in, and I was so happy. I did a small alteration to it to make it more of a traditional shawl because it had kind of a more modern shape. It was like a U shape so that it went from your back and over in front of your body, but I made it one solid strip, so it would be more like an old-fashioned shawl, and it is really having a hard time focusing. Focus! Oh my gosh, focus. Okay. So, also, I have had this cloak for quite some time. I was inspired by Princess Merida. It is very wrinkled right now, so please ignore. It was inspired by Princess Merida, but it's really a great historical piece, and I'm so ashamed to say that I never used it this winter, and I really should have, because one day I wore one of my very old-fashioned skirts to church. It was actually more of a Renaissance skirt, and I wore it with a top, and I totally should have brought my cloak with me because we went on a walk that day and it was cold. So cloaks were used if you were going to walk a bit of a distance on a very cold day, or travel a little ways on a very cold day. So if you were gonna if it was not too bad cold day, or you weren't gonna be out very long, you might just take your shawl. But if you're like getting in the carriage to go to a function, a ball or something, you would wear your cloak. Or like I said, if you're going on a long walk and it's very cold, like you're gonna go visit a neighbor, you're gonna take food to the poor, you would wear the cloak. And I was like, cloaks had to be very warm. And I know that some ladies had like different layers that they would put on, like some kind of a knitted shawl that kind of they would wear under, I think. But I imagine that cloaks had to be lined, they had to be wool, and wool really was the standard for warm clothes. So in the winter, women would even have wool dresses, and in the summer, warmer months, they would wear cotton dresses, muslin dresses, things like linen, things like that. So yes, the gloves, I have, these are just some winter gloves I got from Walmart, and they are kind of old. These are new, and they're actually just plain cotton gloves. They were made so that you can put lotion on at night and wear them. It's like a skincare thing, but I added lace, and I added a little wedding ring to each with ribbon so I could advertise that when I'm wearing my gloves. Yeah, so sun protection, germ protection, and style. But I actually want to have these gloves from Amazon because I think they're really cute. I want to have more options for my gloves, but that is something for the future. This is my bonnet. This is a modern day bonnet that I wear at night. protects your hair and keeps your hair nice at night for the next day. Very good for curly hair. And but I want to create a new one out of some cotton fabric that I have, so that it is much more old-fashioned and 1800s style, and it's going to have a ruffle around the edge, a lot more of a ruffle. So there's that. And I also want this parasol and this bonnet. They used parasols and bonnets back in the 1800s for sun protection, just the same as gloves. Another thing I wanted to say about my shawl. So this is a great winter shawl. It's very warm, but it's dark. So this shawl will not be appropriate for spring. Spring should have a lighter weight shawl and a lighter color. And I think that the color traditions of darker colors for the winter and lighter colors for the spring has to do with the ability to stay warm or cooler. So yes, I would like to get a shawl that is lighter weight and a lighter color. So that's goals. Also, I want to make dresses like this, or buy them. And something else I really want is more vintage, like 1800s underwear, which really essentially is like a plain cotton dress, essentially. We would call it that, a short sleeved cotton dress. And that would go under, and I'm also kind of considering what they call stays. Most people call that a corset, which is, you know, it's the thing, you know. So hopefully I can find something that's a little historically accurate. I'm pretty darn sure that stays or corsets were cotton way back when, and they were worn over your little cotton underdress. So I would really like to have that, because honestly, it's great to keep sweat off your clothes. If you have that cotton underdress that has like the short sleeve and everything, it keeps the sweat on that instead of on your dress. And it's really just more practical for a dress, because it gives you those extra layers, warmth if you need it, but also even keep you cool as well in the summer. And gives you that extra kind of floof to your dress. So I would really like to make myself, I guess what they call a chemise or chemise, whatever, it's French. Yeah, so an underdress and possibly a corset. But all of that will be in the future. Something I've considered with all of this is just how much effort it takes, like how much time it takes to get dressed, and like if you're going out, like put on your gloves, put on your bonnet, get your scarf, your shawl if it's chilly, get your parasol, like all of that was like a lot. And also, as I'm going out wearing gloves, I'm kind of trying to figure out, when did they take them off, did they ever take them off when they were out? Because sometimes I have to like, you know, deal with money or something. Well, I like to keep them on when I'm dealing with money. If I'm ever touching anything that's potentially dirty, I like to keep the gloves on. But there's just some times where I'm like, I can't do whatever I'm trying to do with my gloves on. So I don't know. I know that there were certain points in history where it was considered immodest to not have gloves on, and I'm pretty sure that was the 1800s. So like, well, I know you would never touch a man's hand if you didn't have a glove on. So anyway, just trying to like figure all that out. Of course, I can do whatever I want, but it is fun to kind of live a little historically. So there's a lot of little things that I would like that I don't currently have, but I do have the fabric to make one dress in the style that I would like. And of course, again, this dress focuses on sun protection. And like I said, it's kind of a mix for me. It's a mix of wanting to dress vintage and have that sun protection without chemicals. So this is also really good for your health. If you have natural sun protection by way of bonnets, gloves, parasols, long sleeves, it's a great alternative to using chemicals for sun protection. So yeah, a lot of times I think the old ways are the best ways, and that's what I'm trying to get back to.